departure to a Hilly Stone gig has encouraged generations of younger generation to choose up a guitar, but for Spencer Rascoff it was instead of the catalytic for a lifetime in industry. As a teenager, Spencer was happy, quite, to go backroom at a quantity of the gang's gigs in the previous 1990s. But quite rather than marveling at Mick Jagger, Keith Richards and the otherwise of the team, he says he was fixed on the abounding staff fleeing about to hold the whole show on the way. I saw the round manufacturer as the head execution, and the gang and the show was the food, says Spencer, now 43. How was a forming expertise for me? I was charmed by the industry of piece of music. Spencer was capable to go backroom at the concerts since his dad Joseph was a industry officer and round manufacturer for the Stone, and a army of some top acts consisting U2, David Bowie and Gender Simon. Yet time the expertise done Spencer wished to run a industry, his dad informed him versus departure in the adversity of the piece of music production. Present Spencer is the head execution of U.S. characteristic listings website Zillow, that is cost on $3BN. Grown in New York and Los Angeles, Spencer went to Harvard College, wherever he graded in a extent in by the government and economy. Following 2-year work as an investment banker on Side Road, elderly 24 he company founded his at first industry, Journey website, in 1999. The business grew rapidly, but was later ill-struck by the bomber attacks of 11 September 2001. Not just was Hotwire hit by the next downturn in Journey, it floored a social relations tempest while the FBI found how several of the hijackers had utilized it to buy tickets. The tickets in issue were not for the planes on the fatal date, but for air transportation a few days over, yet Hotwire floored hard headlines. How type of click, and the reality how human beings weren't flyer lot following 9/11's constrained Hotwire to drag the waste considerably, and how was hard to make, says Spencer, who was the business's defect CEO and who as well lose a household boyfriend in the bomber attacks. As a outcome, Hotwire found himself in challenge and had to lay off personnel. Spencer and his company founders later saw a lot of their justice graded out while the business was constrained to reduce the importance of the industry to draw urgent new invest. The final impact of the was how, while Hotwire was sold out to competing Expedia for $663 million in 2003, Spencer's revenue of the selling were minimum. Following work for Expedia for a year, he left word to exceed 2 ex-Expedia employees who had fair start up a characteristic website named Zillow. The aim was to listing properties for selling through the U.S., but as Spencer admits, they weren't precisely certainly how they were departure to monetize it. While we began we had no industry pattern, he says. We fair requested to construct a enormous auditorium and later drawing out the pattern after. To construct up the auditorium Zillow allows nobody marketing a household to listing it for complimentary on its website, be they members of the social, or a company of property agents. The website, or the app how accompanied, is as well complimentary for human beings to use while hunt for a household to buy or lease. So how precisely does Zillow do its cash? Via advertisement. First of all, property agents can pay for their properties to seem at the top of the searching listing in any taking into account area. And secondly, some business community in the broad habitation segment can pay to location adverts, such as interior design designers, or household enhancement retailers. These retailers are brought by Zillow's extensive customer numbers. To assist save these eyes on display the business urge to listing each solitary characteristic in the U.S., not fair such up for selling or lease. It does the by mind-sweeping via social accounting records, such as inclusive of housing characteristic tax values, and with photos of Google road type. For every list household, Zillow gives an alleged importance or zestimate. Saul Klein, text editor of on the internet news story outlet Opening Estate Times, says how Zillow's characteristic values can occasionally reason problems. Lot human beings use these as an reputable resource, forgetful it's fair an estimation, says Mr. Klein. Or actual property agents get really disappointed in these figures since household owners would claim in them, Proverb the or how estimation is which the household is cost. Mr. Klein adds how Zillow is operational in a really competition market. Down there are a lot of players out down there, so how Zillow will share up in 5 or 10 year of now is a issue mark. Now expansion the industry in Canada, Spencer has been head execution with 2010. With later the industry has purchased 15 less rivals, and in 2011 floated on the New York Stockpile exchanging. Time Spencer may not include accompanied his deceased dad, Joseph Rascoff dead recent year, in looking following gig tours, he is frequently on the way. We include almost 4,000 employees distribution out in a dozen offices, and I journey often since I sense how it's essential to expend period immediately in employees, he says. A common day on the way is 6 a.m. before 11 p.m., in electronic mail and public print squeezed in at the end of a length date.